Chosen one, this message is going to go straight to the deepest place in your heart, the place where you still carry the sting of betrayal. But here's the truth that's been whispered in the quiet corners of your soul for so long. The betrayal you've experienced, especially from your family, wasn't a coincidence. It was never a random act of cruelty. This is the moment you've been waiting for, the divine intersection where God is confirming your story, telling you that your journey is unfolding exactly like Joseph's. And more than that, God has seen every tear you've shed, every silent prayer, every moment of pain. He's been watching, and he has never once forgotten a single piece of your story. If you've ever asked yourself, why did the people I love the most hurt me the worst? Or why did the people who should have protected me leave me out in the cold? Then this message is for you. It's time to stop seeing this as an unfortunate series of events and start recognizing the prophetic pattern that's been laid out before you, a blueprint that God has been designing since the very beginning. What you've gone through, what you are going through, is part of a plan that is so much bigger than you can see right now. And yes, it may have come with pain, rejection, isolation, and mockery, but that pain has not been wasted. It is the very thing that is shaping you, preparing you, and positioning you for something far greater than you can even imagine. Joseph's story is one of the most powerful stories in the Bible, a story of brokenness, betrayal, and incredible elevation. What made Joseph's story so profound wasn't just that he was rejected by his family, it was how that rejection was part of God's divine process to position him for his purpose. In Chosen One, if you feel like your family has turned on you, if you've been the subject of mockery and abandonment, you need to hear this. You are not cursed. You are called. You are not abandoned. You are being set apart for something extraordinary. The rejection you faced is not an obstacle. It's part of the path that leads to your elevation. God saw your betrayal, and he allowed it because it was necessary for you to step into the calling he has prepared for you. In the story of Joseph, we see a man who was chosen by God, marked for greatness, yet the very people who should have loved him and supported him were the ones who betrayed him. His own brothers, who were supposed to protect him, plotted against him. The ones he trusted the most saw his dreams as a threat and tried to destroy him. But let's look at that for a moment. Joseph wasn't betrayed by strangers. He wasn't abandoned by people who didn't know him. No, Joseph was rejected by the very people who were supposed to understand him the most, the ones who were supposed to love him, defend him, and walk alongside him. His brothers, the very ones he trusted, were the ones who pushed him aside. And if you've been there, if you felt the sting of betrayal from those closest to you, then you know exactly what Joseph felt. You know what it's like to be misunderstood, mocked, and isolated. You know the pain of being rejected by the ones you love the most. But here's the good news. Chosen one. God has a plan for you. He has seen every tear, and he's seen every moment when you wondered why this had to happen to you. And I want you to understand this truth today. God didn't allow the rejection to break you. He allowed it to build you. The same way Joseph was elevated through his trials, so too are you being prepared for something greater. But you may be wondering, why does this happen? Why do those closest to us, the ones who should support us, turn their backs on us when we need them the most? Why does the very family we trust with our dreams and aspirations often seem the first to mock us or betray us? The answer lies in something Joseph's life teaches us. God doesn't want us to find our validation in the approval of people. Your worth, your value, your destiny, none of it is tied to the acceptance of those who cannot handle your calling. That's the painful truth. The people closest to you might not understand the calling on your life. They might see your dreams, your purpose, and your light as a threat. And that's exactly what happened with Joseph. Joseph was not just rejected because his brothers were evil. He was rejected because they couldn't handle the weight of his calling. And so God allowed the rejection to occur In Joseph's case, God had to allow his brothers to push him away, because if they had accepted him, they would have limited him. If they had celebrated his dreams, Joseph would have stayed small. He would have watered down his purpose just to make them comfortable, and he never would have risen to the position God had destined for him. You may feel like your family has tried to make you shrink, like they can't handle your dreams, your vision, and the way you see the world. But here's what you need to know, chosen one. You were never meant to fit in with them. You came from them, but you were not sent for them. God didn't create you to be just like them. He didn't call you to live in the same cycles, the same smallness, or the same limitations. You were born for something greater than what they could see for you. Your family might not be able to understand the depth of your calling. They might not be able to see the dreams and visions that God has placed in your heart. But you must understand this truth. God didn't give your dream to them. He gave it to you. He didn't show your vision to your family or your friends. He showed you, and now it's time for you to step into that vision, even if it means walking alone. You don't need their approval to walk in your destiny. You don't need them to understand your calling. You were never supposed to fit in with them. You were set apart, chosen, and called to lead. So, what do you do with this pain? How do you move forward when you've been hurt by the very people who should have had your back? How do you handle the betrayal, the mockery, and the abandonment? The answer lies in the same process that Joseph went through. The rejection, the pain, and the hurt aren't the end of your story. They are the beginning. The pain you've experienced has been God's tool of refinement. It has been shaping you, testing you, and preparing you for the purpose He has placed on your life. Just like Joseph's pit wasn't his end, your rejection is not your end. It is only the beginning of what God is about to do in your life. Black sheep, you are being refined through this process. Every tear, every moment of loneliness, every time you felt abandoned and rejected has been part of God's divine plan. You are being shaped just as Joseph was to carry the weight of the mantle God has called you to. And just like Joseph's elevation came after his betrayal, so too will your elevation come after your pain. God is using your brokenness to build your future. Your family's rejection is not the end of your story. It is the very thing that will propel you into your destiny. And so, chosen one, you are not alone. You are not abandoned. You are being prepared for something far greater than you can imagine. What the enemy meant for evil, God will use for good. Just as Joseph's rejection led to his promotion, your rejection will lead to your elevation. Hold on, because your story is far from over. The palace is coming, and just like Joseph, you will rise to a place of influence, power, and authority that no one could have predicted. This is just the beginning. Your journey, just like Joseph's, has been written with divine intention. The pit, the prison, the rejection, it all has a purpose. And your destiny, it's still intact. Keep going. Chosen one, you are being prepared for greatness. In the quiet and painful moments of rejection, chosen one, you might find yourself questioning everything. The sting of betrayal, especially when it comes from those you love most, can leave you feeling confused, abandoned, and defeated. But I want to remind you of something powerful, something that God wants you to understand today. Just like Joseph, your rejection is not a sign of failure. It is in fact a sign that God is redirecting you toward a greater purpose. Joseph's story is one that many of us know well. He was the favored son of his father Jacob, and his life seemed set for greatness. Yet despite all the love he received, his brothers, his own flesh and blood, could not stand him. They resented him for the favor he had, the dreams he spoke of, and the vision he carried. They saw his light as a threat to their own lives and dreams, and in their jealousy they betrayed him. They cast him into a pit, abandoned him, and sold him into slavery. From the outside, this looked like an end. But chosen one, this wasn't the end for Joseph. This was the beginning of a process that would lead to his destiny. The pit, the prison, and the eventual rise to the palace all serve as powerful reminders that rejection is not always the sign of God's absence, but often a tool he uses to shape us. When Joseph was thrown into that pit by his brothers, he wasn't being punished, he was being positioned. That dark, lonely pit was the place where his transformation began. It was the moment where everything he thought he knew about himself and his future was stripped away. But in that moment, God was at work. He was refining Joseph, preparing him for something greater than he could have ever imagined. Just like Joseph, the rejection you've faced, the betrayal you've experienced, and the hurt that still lingers, none of it is without purpose. It may have been painful, it may have broken your heart, but it is part of God's greater plan for your life. The rejection you faced, especially from those you thought would stand by you, is not the end of your story. It is a redirection. God allowed you to be pushed aside, to be broken, to be misunderstood, so that he could take you to places that you could never have gone if you had stayed comfortable. Deary. Joseph's journey wasn't just about surviving rejection. It was about being prepared for a position of power and influence. His time in the pit was the first step in his divine preparation. His brothers, who were supposed to protect him, couldn't handle his dreams, and so they pushed him away. But God used that rejection as the very tool to set Joseph on the path that would lead him to greatness. Joseph's rise to power wasn't a coincidence. It was the result of the painful but purposeful process that God took him through. And just like Joseph, the same process is unfolding in your life. You might not see it right now, but the pain you're experiencing is part of a much greater plan. The rejection you feel is part of your redirection. God is using this moment, this season of brokenness, to prepare you for something far greater than you can see. You may feel stuck, like you've been thrown into a pit, but understand that God is not done with you yet. The pit is not where your story ends, it's where your story begins. You may have been in a place where you thought you were loved, where you thought you belonged, only to realize that your light was too bright for the people around you. The very people who should have supported you, celebrated you, and encouraged you were the ones who pushed you down, belittled you, or turned their backs on you. And in that moment, you may have felt abandoned, confused, and alone. But hear me clearly, chosen one, this is the divine redirection. This is God's hand at work, even in the most painful moments. Joseph's story didn't just include betrayal. It was a journey through pain, rejection, isolation, and struggle. He was betrayed, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and falsely accused. But it was through those experiences that Joseph became the man who could lead nations. God didn't use Joseph's comfort to prepare him for leadership. He used his suffering, his rejection, his betrayal. Joseph's time in the pit wasn't wasted. It was the foundation for everything that was to come. The rejection you faced isn't a sign that God has abandoned you. It's a sign that he is preparing you for something far greater than you can imagine. Joseph didn't get to the palace by staying in the comfort of his father's house. He didn't get to his divine destiny by remaining in a place where his brothers could control him. No, Joseph's path to greatness began in the pit. His path to leadership began in the darkest, loneliest place. And just like Joseph, your journey to your purpose starts in a place of pain. But this isn't the end. You are not stuck in the pit forever. The pit was just the first step in God's process of preparing you for the palace. After Joseph was in the pit, he was taken to Egypt and sold as a slave. For years, he worked faithfully, even in the face of injustice in a foreign land. Yet through all of it, God was with him. His journey was not smooth, but it was intentional. God was shaping Joseph's character, building his leadership skills, and teaching him how to handle power and responsibility. And just like Joseph, the rejection you've faced is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a journey that will take you to places you never thought possible. You are being prepared for your purpose, and the rejection, pain, and betrayal you faced are all part of the process. God allowed it not because he wanted to harm you, but because he knew it was necessary for your growth. Joseph's life is a divine blueprint for anyone who has experienced rejection, betrayal, or abandonment. His story shows us that rejection is not a sign of failure, it's a redirection. Joseph's brothers may have thrown him into the pit, but God used that same pit to position Joseph for greatness. The palace that Joseph eventually rose to was not a place of comfort, it was a place of purpose. Joseph wasn't just elevated for his own sake. He was elevated to save nations. He was elevated to preserve life and provide for those who had rejected him. Just like Joseph, you are being positioned for greatness. Your rejection, your pain, and your suffering are not meaningless. They are the building blocks of your destiny. You are being prepared to carry the weight of your calling. Just like Joseph, you will rise above your pain, above your rejection, and above your betrayal. And when you do, you won't rise for your own glory, but for the glory of God's plan. In your life, just like in Joseph's, the pit isn't the end of the story, it's the beginning of something greater. The rejection you faced is not a sign of failure, but a sign that you are being redirected toward your divine purpose. God is using this moment of pain to shape you, to refine you, and to prepare you for the palace that's coming. Your pain is not punishment, it's preparation. Your rejection is not the end, it's the redirection that leads you to your purpose. And just like Joseph, your story isn't over. It's only just beginning. The palace is coming. The fulfillment of your dreams is coming. The elevation, the impact, the authority, it's all coming. Keep holding on, chosen one. You are being redirected to your divine destiny. What others meant for evil, God is turning for your good. Trust the process. You are not alone. You are being prepared for something greater. And just like Joseph, your time will come. The pit was not the end, it was only the beginning. Joseph's story serves as a vivid divine narrative, illustrating a journey that every chosen one must understand. In the pit, in the prison, and finally in the palace, Joseph's life unfolded in stages of intense suffering and isolation. Yet each phase was a vital part of God's plan. He didn't just become a leader overnight. Every betrayal, every challenge, every moment of rejection was carefully designed by God to shape Joseph into the man capable of standing in his purpose. The pit was not the end, it was merely the beginning of a journey that would lead him to the palace. You may look at your life and see nothing but pain, confusion, and seasons of deep struggle. Maybe it feels like you're trapped in a pit of isolation, loneliness, or betrayal. You might even feel abandoned by those you love the most, or like the promises you once felt so sure of are slipping away. But here's the truth, chosen one, the pit is not the end. It is simply the beginning of the refining process that will prepare you for the palace. Just like Joseph, you are going through a process, a season where God is working in the deepest places of your heart, mind, and spirit. It's in the pit where you are being stripped down, purified, and restructured. You may not see it now, but each moment of hardship is part of God's divine design to refine you and prepare you for something greater. The pit is a place of transformation. It's not punishment, it's preparation. Joseph's transformation began when he was thrown into that pit, left for dead by the very people who were supposed to protect him. At first, it must have seemed like everything was falling apart, but what Joseph didn't know in that moment, and what you may not fully grasp right now, is that God was using that betrayal to shift Joseph's perspective and his destiny. The betrayal didn't break him, it was shaping him. The rejection didn't destroy him, it was positioning him for greatness. God was using the pit as a place to refine Joseph's character, to remove the things that could not go with him into his future, and to prepare him for the responsibility he would one day carry. This process wasn't easy for Joseph. It was painful. It was confusing. There were moments when he could have given up, moments when he could have blamed God for the betrayal, moments when he could have questioned his own worth. But Joseph didn't stay stuck in the pit. He didn't let the betrayal keep him from moving forward. He rose up, and each setback, each failure, each betrayal became a stepping stone in his divine journey. The same is true for you. Every time you face rejection or pain, it's not a sign that you're being punished. It's a sign that you're being processed. You are being prepared for something much bigger than you can imagine. As Joseph moved from the pit to the prison, his transformation continued. Being falsely accused and thrown into prison was another layer of his refining. But this wasn't just about suffering. It was about preparation. In the prison, Joseph began to develop the skills he would need to lead. He learned patience, humility, and how to rely on God, not on the approval of others. He learned how to serve and lead even in the darkest of circumstances. And in the midst of the prison, God was still working. God was using the prison to shape Joseph into the kind of leader who could handle power without pride, authority, without arrogance and favor, without forgetting where he came from. God doesn't waste any part of your journey. The pit, the prison, and the eventual palace are all part of his plan. Each phase of Joseph's journey was necessary to prepare him for the leadership he would one day carry. And each phase of your journey is necessary too. The rejection, the betrayal, the seasons of silence and isolation, they are all part of your preparation. They are not setbacks. They are setups. God is setting you up for a platform where your influence can impact others in profound ways. He is building your character, your wisdom, your resilience, and your leadership skills. These are the things that will sustain you when you rise to the palace. But you must be willing to embrace the process. It's tempting to resist the pain, to fight against the isolation, to wish away the difficult seasons. But the truth is, those seasons are the very things that are shaping you. You can't skip the process. You can't rush through the refining stages. If you do, you'll miss out on the character and wisdom that God is building in you. You won't be ready for the platform He's preparing for you. As you reflect on your own journey, I want you to consider how your trials have prepared you for your purpose. How have the moments of rejection, betrayal, or pain shaped you? Have they made you stronger? Have they caused you to rely more fully on God? Have they taught you to rise above your circumstances and trust in His plan even when you can't see the outcome? Joseph's journey shows us that the pit is not the end. It's the beginning. It's a necessary part of God's divine process to position us for greatness. If Joseph had never been thrown into the pit, he would never have been prepared for the prison. And if he hadn't been in prison, he would never have been ready for the palace. Each phase was vital to his transformation. Each moment of pain and rejection was part of God's blueprint to elevate him. And just like Joseph, you are being prepared for something greater. Your journey is not random. Every setback, every hardship, every trial is part of God's divine plan to position you for a platform where your influence can be used for a greater purpose. God is using your pain to refine you. He's using your suffering to build your character. He's using your rejection to redirect you toward your destiny. The process is not easy. It's not always comfortable, but it is necessary. Joseph's rise to power wasn't an accident. It was the result of years of preparation. And just like Joseph, you are being prepared for the palace season. Your palace season is coming, but you must endure the pit and the prison to get there. You must be willing to embrace the process, trust God in the pain, and allow Him to refine you. So take a moment to reflect on your own journey. Look at the moments of betrayal and rejection, the times you've been misunderstood or hurt. How have they shaped you? How have they prepared you for the destiny God has for you? And most importantly, are you ready to step into the palace season? Are you willing to embrace the process, knowing that the pain you're experiencing is just part of the preparation for the greatness that's ahead? Remember, chosen one, you are not alone in this journey. God is with you every step of the way. The pit, the prison, and the palace are all part of His divine plan for your life. And as you walk through this process, know that He is shaping you, refining you, and positioning you for a purpose that is far greater than anything you can imagine. Trust the process. Keep moving forward. The palace is coming. Bye. As you stand at the edge of your journey, chosen one, it's time to reflect on the true essence of victory, one that goes beyond personal success and accolades. Victory in its purest form is not about defeating others or rising above your struggles for the sake of glory. It's about reconciliation. It's about understanding that every step of your journey, every painful moment, every rejection, and every betrayal was not meant to break you, but to prepare you for a purpose far greater than you can imagine. Joseph's ultimate victory came when he stood face to face with the very brothers who betrayed him. When the time came, he didn't seek revenge. He didn't allow his heart to be consumed with bitterness or hatred for the ones who had cast him into the pit. Instead, he chose to forgive. He chose to see God's hand in the entire process. The betrayal, the pain, and the separation were all parts of a larger plan that led him to where he was, not just as a man of power, but as a man of wisdom, humility, and grace. Joseph's redemption wasn't just about his rise to power. It was about his ability to forgive those who had hurt him the most. His heart had been transformed. He had been broken, yes, but in his brokenness, he found his true strength. His character had been tested and refined through his suffering. And when he finally had the power to destroy those who had wronged him, he chose not to, because he understood that God had allowed the betrayal to lead him to his destiny. Joseph knew that the only way to truly walk in the fullness of his purpose was to forgive, to let go of the past, and to embrace the elevation that came through reconciliation. This is the part of the story that often gets overlooked, the moment of reconciliation. It's easy to focus on Joseph's rise, on his triumph over adversity, but the true measure of his victory was his ability to forgive. He was not just elevated for himself, he was elevated for the very people who had tried to destroy him. He was elevated to a place of influence so that he could be a vessel of grace and mercy for those who had once turned their backs on him. This was his true redemption, not only being restored, but being used to restore others. And now, chosen one, this is your call to action. You are standing on the edge of your own transformation. You've been through the fire, through the pit, through the prison, and now it's time to rise. But before you can step fully into your destiny, there's one final step you must take: forgiveness. The pain of rejection, the betrayal you've endured, the words that cut deep, and the actions that hurt you, these are not easy to forget. But forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about releasing the hold that bitterness and anger have over you. It's about choosing to let go of the need for validation from others and stepping boldly into the purpose God has set before you. Forgiveness is not easy. It's not something you can do on your own strength. It's an act of faith, an act of obedience to God's command to love and forgive, even when it seems impossible. But remember, chosen one, that forgiveness isn't for the other person. It's for you. Holding on to bitterness will only hinder your elevation. It will keep you tied to the past, to the people and situations that try to destroy you. But when you forgive, you free yourself. You release yourself from the chains of resentment and anger, and you make room for God to move in your life in ways you never thought possible. Joseph's story is a blueprint for your own life. God used every moment of rejection, betrayal, and pain to prepare Joseph for greatness. And just like Joseph, your story is being shaped by the things that tried to break you. The process wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to refine you. And just as Joseph rose from the pit to the palace, so too will you rise. God has been preparing you for a platform, a place of influence, a place where your voice will be heard and your impact will be felt. But in order to fully step into that place, you must first forgive. You must release the hurt, the anger, and the desire for revenge. You must let go of the need to be understood by those who hurt you, and trust that God's plan is far greater than anything they could ever do. You are not here to prove yourself to anyone. You are here to fulfill your God-given purpose, and that purpose requires you to walk in forgiveness, humility, and grace. This is your moment of reconciliation. Just like Joseph, you are being called to rise above the pain and step into the fullness of your destiny. Forgiveness will be the key that unlocks the door to your elevation. It will open the way for God to use you in ways that you cannot even imagine. The rejection you faced is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your redemption. The pain you've endured has been a part of your preparation. God is using it all to position you for something greater than you could ever dream.
Barbaros, Piratpashtik, Tius, Anet Amaishi.
So, chosen one, I urge you to forgive. Forgive those who have wronged you, whether it was intentional or not. Forgive those who have tried to hurt you, silence you, or belittle you. Forgive those who don't understand your calling, your dreams, or your purpose. Release the weight of bitterness and resentment, and step into the freedom that forgiveness brings. Know that when you forgive, you are making room for God to move in your life in ways that will bring you closer to your destiny. As you forgive, you will find yourself becoming the person you were always meant to be. You will find the strength to rise, not just for your own sake, but for the sake of those around you. God has called you to be a vessel of grace and mercy, just as Joseph was. You are being positioned not just for your own success, but for the success of others. And the best part, you are not alone in this journey. God is with you every step of the way, guiding you, strengthening you, and empowering you to fulfill the purpose He has placed on your life. Forgiveness isn't easy, but it is necessary. And just like Joseph, when you forgive, you will find yourself stepping into a place of power, influence, and authority that you never imagined. Your story is far from over. It is just beginning. And as you embrace forgiveness, you will find that your destiny is not defined by the betrayal or rejection you've experienced, but by the purpose God has placed on your life. Now take a moment and reflect. Think about those who have wronged you. Think about the ones who have hurt you the most, those who have turned their backs on you when you needed them most. And as you think about them, commit to forgiveness. Not for their sake, but for yours. Release the hurt. Let go of the pain. And step boldly into the destiny God has for you. As you forgive, you will find yourself stepping into a season of elevation. The palace is not far off. It's waiting for you. You have been prepared for this moment, chosen one. Every step of your journey, every moment of pain, every betrayal has been a part of God's divine plan, and now it's time for you to step into your purpose with confidence, with grace, and with the power of forgiveness in your heart. God is not finished with you yet. You are just beginning to rise. From the pit to the palace, from rejection to redemption, Your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. And when you forgive, you are embracing the final piece of your transformation. Your destiny is calling you, and forgiveness is the key that will unlock the door. You were never meant to stay in the pit. You were never meant to stay in the prison. You were meant for the palace, and forgiveness is the way forward. Embrace it, walk in it, and let God elevate you to the place where you were always meant to be. Your story is one of redemption chosen one, and that story is just beginning.